Hello, welcome to Yoga with Mercedes. Today we're going to explore yoga for mobility. As you can see, I've got a mat, I've got a couple blocks. You might want to have a strap or not if you feel that you've got some limitations with your shoulders. If you don't have a strap, that's okay. You can use a scarf or a belt, but just having an extra prop just in case will help enhance your practice today. We'll start our class today in a standing position. So once you have your props and you're ready to go, just find the standing position that's comfortable for you. For some of you, that might be feet hip distance apart. In order to find what hip distance is, forget about thinking about the outside of the hips. Instead, find the bony bits at the front of the hips and then position the feet that way. So when you look down, there's enough space for one more foot of yours to fit there in the middle. Alternatively, some of you might like to bring the big toes together and just a little space at the heels. Now from here, you can rock forward and back, just getting really grounded, feeling solid in your standing foundation. I recommend taking a slight bend, a little micro bend for the knees. Now maybe just rock the shoulders forward and back. And then we'll move the shoulders more. We'll lift them up on an inhale and then exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Let's try that again. On your inhale breath, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Good, now continue to move in this way. Movement is following the breath. We're just letting our shoulders release any tension that we might have accumulated in this space. Letting our bodies know that we're coming into our movement practice. Last one, as you exhale, let the shoulders melt away from the ears. As you inhale, reach your arms up. Now, as you exhale, lower one arm down. Reach the top fingers up on the inhale breath, and then exhale, reach overhead. Nice stretch for the side body. Stay here, position the bicep above the ear. If you feel stress in your neck, just turn your head to look down to the mat. And then as you inhale, lift the top fingers up. Exhale, bring that arm down. Inhale, both arms rise up. Exhale, now opposite arm drops down. Inhale, reach the top fingers up. Exhale, fold over, opposite side. Side body stretch. You might even feel a stretch in the shoulder, maybe even in the hip. And on your next inhale, let the top arm rise up. And exhale, lower it down. Inhale, bring the arms out, fingers in line with the shoulders. So you're making the shape of a T with your body. As you take an exhale breath, cross one arm over the other. Bend your elbows. Bring your hands towards each other. Now, as you bring the hands towards each other, you might even feel the hands meet. Now, the important part here is to lift the elbows. Now you might feel a stretch in the upper back and in the shoulders. Hold the lift. Count for 3 rounds of breath. Exhale, unwind the arms. Inhale, reach the arms out. Now as you exhale, cross opposite arm. Bend your elbows. Let the hands meet. Lift the elbows up. Hold the lift. 3 rounds of breath. On the third exhale, unwind the arms. Inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, lower the arms down. Now for the next movement, we can incorporate a block or not. We're going to be lifting the arms up and then back down. If you don't have a block, you can simply keep the hands shoulder distance. If you do have a block, you can go ahead and pick it up. Take the short ends between your hands. Starting position, you're going to have your wrist in line with your shoulders. As you inhale, lift the block overhead. And as you exhale, bring the block down to the starting point. We'll do that again. Inhale, lift the block up, ears between biceps. Exhale, take the block back to the starting point. Let's take a few more. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, back to your starting point. Continue to move with the breath. And we'll take one more. Now, you might feel the shoulders engaging, strengthening, working. We'll let the block go for now. We're going to take that same movement, but this time the arms are going to come behind the body. Some of you might be able to interlace your fingers behind your back. If you're trying to do that and you can't make the connection, you can take your strap or your scarf or your belt, whatever you have to assist you. Your hands are going to grip your prop and then you'll lift up this way. Okay? So strap or not, this is up to you, and this is really dependent on how your shoulders feel today. The tighter the shoulders are, the more space you're going to want to give. So the further away your hands will be on the strap. If your shoulders are pretty open, then you can take the hands behind the back. Now, once you bring the hands behind the back, let the palms press together. Inhale, lift the fist. Exhale, lower down. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's explore a few more rounds. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we lower. Notice if one shoulder feels different than the other. Make sure that you're not pushing yourself to the point of discomfort or pain. This is our last one. Exhale, lower down. Once you release the hands, just shimmy the shoulders out. Let any tension go. Back to our standing position. Let's take a wider stance now. So now the feet are wider than the hips. Maybe lifting the toes, spreading the toes wide, really gripping the mat and feeling stable in your standing foundation. Little micro bend for the knees. Maybe just take a few bounces, shaking any tension. All right, now hands can come to the hips. We'll take hip circles. First, just taking little circles, drawing circles with the hips. Now, as you start to do this, you might notice if you can go deeper. If that's the case for you, heel toe the feet wider, send the hips further back. Press the hips forward as you circle around. Here you'll notice if the hips are tight. Your body will let you know if it wants to move fast or slow. This is up to you to decide depending on how you feel today in your body. As we practice, we really want to honor our body. Take the circles opposite direction. By honoring the body, we're listening. We're really tuning into what the body's telling us. If it feels good, we're doing it right. If we feel pain, we've probably gone a little too far. We'll take one more circle. Back to center. Heel toe the feet to hip distance or big toes together. Relax your arms. Lift one hand and just circle the wrist around. Now with this wrist, you can draw circles. You can imagine that you have a paintbrush, maybe you're drawing a beautiful picture, or maybe you're not taking any pattern at all. You're just letting that wrist move. Now we'll start to incorporate the elbow. Notice that the shoulder wants to move, and then let the movement become bigger. Just exploring the space around you with this arm. Again, maybe you're taking a pattern. Maybe big circles, maybe a figure 8. Maybe there's no pattern at all. Simply enjoying the movement that this shoulder is providing. The next time the hand is up, gaze up to your hand and watch it slowly float down like a leaf falling from a tree, all the way until it's relaxed by your side. Lift your opposite arm. Start to rotate the wrist. Remember to take a micro bend in your knees. That's going to feel better for your low back. And as you take the micro bend with your knees, pull your belly button towards your spine. Now remember, with this wrist, you can take a pattern or not. Just letting the body move how it feels good to do so today. Start to let the elbow move as well. Let that movement become bigger. Feel the space around you. Feel all the space that this arm can take up. And simply let this arm, this shoulder move in a way that it wants to. Shoulders can get cranky and tight. A lot of that has to do with how we sleep. So it's nice to just give some love and attention to this area and to move in a way that's safe and beneficial for our bodies. Now the next time the hand travels up, gaze up to the hand, watch it float down like a leaf or a feather. And let that arm relax down. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Pause here. Feel a stretch at the back of the neck. And gently roll your head from side to side, taking half circles, noticing as you move to each side, if you want to stay for a longer hold. If one side feels tighter than the other, give yourself time to breathe into it, to release that tightness and that congestion. And then continue to move when you are ready. We'll start to even out the sides. Find your way to center. As you inhale, lift your chin, gaze forward. Incorporating a block again. If you don't have a block, that's okay. You can use any prop that you have at home. So whenever I'm showing this movement to someone that does not have a block at home, I find that a really nice prop is a DVD. You want to place something in your hand that's not too heavy. So these blocks are foam, they're very light. If they fall, even if they fall on your foot, it's no big deal, it won't hurt. So if you don't have a block, I recommend something lightweight. So maybe not a thick book, but think more along something like a DVD. We'll position this prop in our palm. We want to make sure that we're not gripping the block with our fingers. We want to just have the palm and the fingers at the bottom of the block. And we're holding it so that our elbow is by our side, as if we're holding a tray. Now for the movement for shoulder mobility, we'll send the block forward and then we bring it back in. As we bring it back in, we send the elbow out, fold forward to make space underneath the body, underneath the arm. Slowly rotate rotate the block up. Take your time, there's no rush. Let the block come all the way up. Press your arms straight up. Rotate your fingers forward. And then bring the block in front. Bend the elbow, bring it to your side. So there's a lot happening here for your arm. You're getting shoulder mobility and also wrist mobility. Let's try that again. Starting with the elbow by your side. Send your block forward. Your arm is straight. As you bring the block towards you, bend your elbow, hinge at the hips enough to create space to bring the block underneath. Send it out to this side. Slowly press it up. Press yourself to a standing position. Once your arm is straight up, rotate your fingers forward, lower the block down, bend the elbow, bring it in. Okay, we're gonna take one more round. Now remember, if this is a little too complicated or the prop is throwing you off, then you can do this without a block. So I'll show you what it looks like without the block. We're just gonna imagine that we're holding one in our hand. The arm goes forward, the arm comes in. Hinge at the hips, take your hand under your arm, out to the side, press your arm up, rotate your fingers all the way around, bring your arm down, and then hug the elbow in. Let this arm relax. Release your prop if you have one. So that's 3 rounds on one side. Let's explore this on the other side. So I'll show you with the block, same thing, opposite hand. Remember, your palm, your hand, is going to be fingers together, and you're just resting your prop on top. You want to avoid gripping with your fingers because we're practicing balance with our mobility. So we inhale, take it forward. Exhale, bend your elbow. Now hinge forward to bring the block underneath. Take your time. You don't need to go fast. This side might feel different. It certainly does for me. Press it up and then bring your arm forward. Hug your elbow in. All right, let's try 2 more rounds. Remember, if you drop your prop, it's totally okay. You can pick it up and start again. This is just a practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. Second round, send the block forward. As you bring it in, hinge at the hips, take your time, rotate it out, move as slow as you need to, send the arm up, press it up, rotate the wrist around, and bring it in. Elbow to your side. Last round, I'll show you again without the prop on this side. Palm is facing up. Send the hand forward, straight arm. Bend the elbow, bring it in. Bring the hand in, out, around, rotate the wrist, bring the arm down, hug the elbow in. Release your prop if you're working with one. Shimmy out the shoulders. We've really got the shoulders mobile now, really loosen things up. So let's move into another part of the body. This time we'll bring the feet together. We're going to move from the upper body down. We've taken some circles for hip mobility. So now we're just going to take our hands to our thighs and we're just going to sit back a little bit, just enough to get our hands straight on our thighs. Make sure you're not pressing on your knees, okay? So hands to your thighs, palms are going to be on the thighs, thumbs are going to be in. Now draw circles with your knees so your knees are moving in the same direction. Keep the feet grounded. And then take the knees opposite direction. Find center. Press feet to the mat, back to standing. Now we'll do that for our ankles. 1 foot at a time. Come onto the toes of one foot. The opposite foot is going to be flat, grounded on the mat. Now, with the foot that you have the heel lifted, draw circles with the heel. Feel a nice stretch under the toes. This is for ankle mobility. So important. We expect so much from our feet. We do so much walking, traveling around, wear different kinds of shoes, and we don't really think about the therapeutics that our feet need in return for all the work that they do for us. So this is time now to give them some love. Draw circles in the opposite direction. You might even feel the balance that you're working with here. So today's very much about mobility, but we're also incorporating balance, which is really good for all of us. So last circle on this side. Lift the toes, place the foot down, shift the weight over to this side, come onto opposite toes. The heel is lifted, draw circles with your heel. And simply notice how this ankle feels, how it feels to stretch the area under the toes. And then opposite direction. All right, let's position that foot down. Now we're feeling both soles of the feet firmly planted on the mat. I recommend coming back to hip distance. Take your hands to your hips. We'll lift one leg at a time. As we lift one leg, you're going to want to shift the weight over to the other side. Notice when I lift my leg, I shift over. That's what we're going to think about doing as we lift one side at a time. Now, when we do the lift, starting with feet hip distance, inhale, we lift the knee, bring the knee in line with the hip, and then exhale, tap the toes down. Inhale, lift the knee, exhale, tap it down. One more. Inhale, lift the knee, exhale, tap it down. Good. Shift the weight to this side. Inhale, lift the knee, exhale, tap it down. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap down. Last one. And then both feet firmly planted down. All right, we're gonna fire things up just a little bit. We're gonna incorporate a block. If at any point in this movement the balance is too challenging, you can opt out of this, or you can bring your hand to a wall space. One hand is going to be working with the block. The hand that's not working with the block can be positioned at the wall. So we'll bring one block in front of both feet. When you position yourself, you want to make the shape of a triangle so that both of your feet and the block make a triangle shape. Now remember, this is going to be a little more challenging because now we're including strength. So we're going to take a few rounds. Remember, you can opt out anytime that you want to, but let's just try it. So leaning to one side, lift your foot of your opposite leg. We're going to practice keeping this foot lifted for this movement. Let your arms come down. The knee that you have bent, that same side hand is going to reach down for your block. So your standing leg knee bends. Now, take the block with you as you find standing. Feel the engagement of the hip. Try to keep the leg lifted. And as you exhale, lower the block somewhere out to the side. Let it go. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend the knee, lower down. Inhale, lift the block up. Exhale, take the block over to the other side. It doesn't have to be far. Let it go. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, take the block with you. We're almost done on this side. Exhale, take it back to center where you started. Let it go. Inhale, rise up. Place your foot down. The leg that you were standing on, your foundational leg, you're probably feeling the hip and the leg really fired up. Let's release any tension that we might have caused. So we'll lift that leg that was the foundational leg, lift the knee up, take it around. Now we're drawing circles with our knee, flossing out the hip. Once you've taken 3 circles, take the circles in the opposite direction for 3 rounds. And then once you're done, set the foot down, back to hip distance. We're going to try that on the other side. Remember, one side might be different than the other. That is the case for most people. Most of us are stronger on one side. Give yourself a break and just let yourself enjoy the experience of what's happening in your body. So opposite foot lifts. We'll practice letting that foot hover for this exercise. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, reach same side hand of the bent knee. Reach for your block. And as you inhale, press to your standing foot to rise up. As you exhale, bend your standing leg knee, lower the block out to one side, let it go. Inhale, rise up. I know this is challenging. Remember, you can use the wall for support. We're gonna bend over, grab the block again. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, take it to the other side. Let it go. Inhale, come up. Exhale, grab your block again. Inhale, come up. We're almost done. Exhale, drop it to center. Inhale, rise up. Lower your foot. Feel the work that just happened on this leg. And then lift the knee. Draw 3 circles in this direction. And then we'll take 3 circles opposite direction. Just giving a little love to our hip, thanking our hip for the work that it's done. And then letting this foot come down. Now, as we let the foot come down, know that from here, we're gonna lower down from standing down to a kneeling position. This is where we might think about some different propping options. For any of you that have knee issues, you're gonna wanna get out your knee pad, or you can achieve some extra cushion with a blanket. So I'm gonna grab a blanket to show you how you can do this at home. Wherever the knees are gonna land on the mat, this is where you're gonna position the blanket. Lower down however you'd like. Knees come onto the blanket, and then we let the hands lower down to the mat. So we're coming into our tabletop position. And you don't have to use the blanket if you don't want to. This just depends on your body and what your body needs. Now, when you look down to your hands, spread the fingers wide. Palm is firmly planted. Inside of the elbows facing each other. Position your knees under your hips. Now we're going to come back to hip circles, this time a little more grounded in our kneeling position. Start with whichever side you'd like. Lift one knee up and out, and then circle it around. As you do this, try to keep your arms straight. Try to keep your shoulders in line with each other, and then take 3 circles in the opposite direction. Notice how the hip feels. And then lower that knee down. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, release. Now, inhale, lift opposite knee up and out. Draw 3 circles with the knee. And then circle around opposite direction. Keep the arms straight. Knee comes back down to the mat. From here, walk your hands towards your knees. Position your shins onto the mat or the blanket. And see see how it feels to sit in this way. If this is too much compression for your knees, then I recommend sitting onto a block or positioning yourself in a different seated position. So take a moment to set yourself up. And the reason that we're coming down in this position is to give our wrist a little love and release from the support that they just gave us. So in this exercise, we'll take our palms together. And when you have your palms together, notice that your thumbs are towards your heart center. Open your palms so that you're seeing them. Now the pinkies are together. Bring the back of the hands together. Notice the fingers coming towards the chest. Continue to circle around. Bring the back of the hands together. Now, if you want to pause here, you can lower your elbows to get a deeper stretch for your wrist. You might even feel this going into the forearms. And when you're ready to continue your circles, rotate the thumbs away from you, the fingers out. Bring the thumbs back together, heels of the hands together, palms together. So we're circling the wrist around. Notice as you circle the wrist around, they're connected, but the connection changes as you rotate them around. So don't get caught up too much, and if you're doing this perfectly correct, just let yourself have the experience of taking circles with the wrist. And then see how it feels to take it in the opposite direction. So we're going to flip it and reverse it. Pause anywhere you want or need to. And then let the hands lower down. Continuing with our wrist, lift one arm, palm up, rotate the fingers down. Take the opposite hand, fingers to the fingers of the straight arm. And then gently pull the fingers back. Feel the stretch going up the forearm. Last round of breath here. Gently release the fingers. Take your hand behind your straight arm fingers. Reach for the base of the thumb. Not just the thumb, but the base of the thumb. And gently pull it back. Feel a nice stretch here. Know that this is an area where we hold a lot of stress and tension, so it's really nice to work that out. The space between the thumb and the index finger is where we can hold stress. So we're letting that go. Release the thumb gently, and then lower the hand down. Opposite arm reaches out. Fingers rotate down. Opposite fingers come in front. Pull the fingers towards you. Hold here for a few rounds of breath. Notice how the stretch feels at the forearm. And gently release. Keep the arm lifted and straight. Take the fingers, take the hand behind this hand. Reach for the base of the thumb. And gently give a little pull back without pain, without discomfort. Feel a nice stretch here. And gently let it go. Let the hand come down. Now from our seated position, we're going to come back into tabletop to explore mobility for the shoulders and the hips at the same time. Come off of your block if you're sitting on one. Come back into tabletop. Position yourself in the tabletop position and then walk the hands one hand placement forward. This is going to give you a little more space. Now as you inhale, press your hips towards the mat, lowering the hips down as much as is comfortable for you. And then lift your hips press the hips back, moving towards a child pose position. Shift forward on your next inhale. And remember, you can shift and press forward as much or as little as you want or need. Exhale takes it back to child's pose. Nice stretch for the arms. Continue to move at your pace. If you've been doing a lot of sitting, this is a really great hip opener. If at any point you feel any cracking or popping at the hips, that's totally okay. It's just air being released from the joints. And then we'll come back to a neutral tabletop position. So check and see if your wrists are positioned underneath your shoulders. Realign the knees under the hips. Extend your right leg, bring the right toes to the back of the mat. Keeping the toes connected, draw circles with your ankle. And as you press the heel away from the body, feel a nice stretch at the calf muscle. Let yourself move in the opposite direction. Back to stretching the feet, getting ankle mobility. Find center. Inhale, lift this right foot. As you exhale, take your toes to the right side off the mat. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, take the toes to the left side. Each time you inhale, bring the ankle back in line with the hip. And each time you exhale, take your toes to the other side. Move with your breath. We'll take one more. Exhale right, inhale lift, exhale left, inhale lift, and then exhale, bring the knee down. Take a full round of breath here. Reposition the fingers if you need to, spreading the fingers wide, pressing palms to the mat. We'll take those two options on the other side. So now lift the left knee, extend the leg, bring the toes to the back of the mat. Circle the heel around. So we're also moving the wrist and the shoulders as we get this ankle mobility. We get wrist and shoulder mobility. So we've got a nice little combo here. Take the circles opposite direction. Find center. Now, before we move on, if any of you are feeling too much shoulder engagement or that the wrists are getting a little cranky, then you can help these areas by bringing the blocks onto the mat at the mid-height. Position your forearms there, so now the wrists are free. They're not having to do any work. So that's just another variation for you if you'd like. Now we'll inhale, lift the leg up, ankle in line with the hip. Exhale, take the toes over to the left off the mat. Inhale, lift back to center. Exhale, take the toes over to the right. Inhale, find center. We've got a couple more rounds. Exhale, tap it to the left. Inhale, lift. Tap it to the right on the exhale. Inhale, center. One more round. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, knee comes down. Now, if you were using the blocks and that's not really your favorite, know that another option that you can take rather than having palms down would be to have your fist down. So the fists are going to be in line with the shoulders. Okay, some people really like that option. You've got several different things to choose from. Let's give our wrist, our shoulders, our arms a break. Open the knees, the width of the mat. Bring your big toes together. Send your hips towards your heels. Come into your child's pose. Extending the arms, lowering the forehead down. Just breathe. Inhale, lift your head. Exhale, walk your hands towards your body, coming back onto your seat. We'll change the station of our body from seated to reclined. Move any props out of the way that you don't need for now. So for me, that's going to be the blanket. If you were using a blanket underneath your knees, you're going to want to just set it out to the side so that there's space for you to bring your seat midway to the mat. This way your back and your head can come down to the mat. Take a block with you. Bring it midway at the mat so that it's easy for you to grab. And then go ahead and come onto your back. As you come onto your back, let yourself just feel the back, the tailbone, the shoulders, and the head connected. You might even want to take your hands to your belly and just explore the movement of the torso as you breathe. As you inhale, feel the belly rise. As you exhale, feel the belly soften. Give yourself permission to take a pause here, to feel a neutral spine on the mat. Now bring your arms out by your sides. Bring your heels towards your glutes. We've got a couple of options for the next movement. It can be a movement or it can be supported. For the movement, as we inhale, we'll lift the hips up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we'll lower down from the top of the spine, slowly, bone by bone, all the way down to the tailbone. So we're articulating the spine. Inhale, we press the hips up again. Exhale, lower down, bone by bone. Take your time. Okay, now if you don't want to do the movement, if that doesn't feel good, you can slide a block underneath your sacrum, not at the low back, lower towards the glutes. So if you're wearing yoga pants and you can feel the seam at the waistband, you're going to position the block just below the waistband. So this is a supported bridge. We can also rotate the block higher up just a bit. And we can stay here supported. This is a really nice way to open the front of the hips. Staying here with your breath, or continuing to take the movement of articulating the spine as you exhale and pressing the hips up as you inhale. Practice moving with control. And the next time the tailbone connects down to the mat, let it stay there. Arms are grounded by your sides. If you're working with the supported option, as you inhale, you can lift your hips up, remove the block from underneath, set it out to the side, and we'll all meet at a flat back. Find your breath. Allow yourself to become peaceful in this pose. And when you're ready, extend your legs up. And start to open the feet away from each other and then bring them back together. Cross one over the other like scissors. And try that in the opposite direction. As you open the feet away from each other, feel a nice stretch at the inner thighs, external rotation for the hips. The next time the feet come up, bring them together. Draw circles with your big toes back to ankle mobility. Draw the circles in the opposite direction. Now bring the feet together, legs together. As you inhale, point your toes towards the ceiling. As you exhale, flex your feet, bring your toes towards your body. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. One more round. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And soften the feet. This time, bend the knees. Move the legs as if you're riding a bicycle. And then see if you can reverse it and go in the opposite direction. Now give yourself permission to move the legs however you'd like. Maybe taking a pattern. Maybe there's no pattern at all. Maybe you start to incorporate the arms. So you're letting the limbs move with freedom, taking up all the space around you. Maybe you start to rotate the wrist. Imagining that you're swimming or dancing, just letting yourself play without thought. Just enjoying the experience. Slowly let the limbs come down. Soles of the feet meet the mat. Arms come out to the sides, back to the letter T, wrist in line with the shoulders. Lift your feet off the mat. Position your knees above your hips. Position your ankles in line with your knees. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, lower both knees to the left. Turn your gaze to the right. Keep both shoulders down. Inhale, the knees come up to center. Exhale, knees to the right, gaze to the left. Keep both shoulders down. Inhale, back to center. We're going to take 2 more on each side. Let your movement follow your breath. Notice as you're moving from side to side, you're getting a really nice massage for the hips. 1 more, each side. Movement follows the breath. Knees to center. Now take your hands to your shins, just below the knees. Knees are together, feet are together. Draw circles with the knees. Knees are moving in the same direction. Feel a nice massage for the low back as you do this. And when you're ready, circle the knees opposite direction. Remember, the knees are moving together. Find center. Keep your hands where they are. Pressing your tailbone to the mat, pull the knees into the chest. Give yourself some space at the low back. Keep the tailbone down. Release the pull. Open the knees far apart from each other. As far apart as you can bring them. Draw circles with the big toes. Feel the movement in the ankles. And when you're ready, circle around opposite direction. Bring the feet to stillness. Now we'll draw circles with our knees. This time the knees come in towards each other and then go out and away from each other. And again, knees come in and then out, in towards each other and then separate out. Now take this in the opposite direction. Mobility, fluidity for the hips. And bring the knees back together. Release the hands. Lower the feet down to the mat. Lower the arms to the mat. Take a breath here. Allow yourself to settle in. Know that we're coming into our time of relaxation. We'll set our bodies up for Shavasana. For some of you, this might be extending the legs in a traditional shape, arms out by the sides. Palms can be facing up as an intention of receiving, or palms can be rotated down as an intention of grounding. Now, some of you in your bodies might like a different setup. Some of you might like the support of a prop underneath your legs or your knees. With this elevation, you'll feel more comfort in the low back. However you choose to set the legs up, rotate your chin towards your chest, lengthening the cervical spine. If you'd like a layer, a blanket, some warmth to nurture you as you come into this resting pose, please feel free to grab that prop. When you're ready, let your eyes close. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, let your body be heavy. Give yourself permission to relax, to surrender to this pose, to just be in your body, practicing presence in the stillness. If you start to get impatient, just remember this time of relaxation is very important at the end of your practice. This is time of integration, time of connection. Continue to settle in. Notice your breath. Practice slowing the breath and expanding the lung capacity. Feel the heart expand with each inhale. And feel the body relax with each exhale. Feel gratitude for serving yourself today through your practice. Continue to breathe and be. In this time of connection with yourself, with your eyes closed, visualize how you'd like to move through the rest of your day. See yourself moving through in this way. The calm, steady breath, fluid movement. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes and gently feel the physical body moving again. When you're ready, you can bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Take a full round of breath here. Lift the feet off the mat. Take the hands back to the shins. Rock from side to side. Nice little massage for your back. As you rock from side to side, allow the rocks to become bigger so that eventually you roll over onto one side, coming into the fetal pose. Pose of new beginnings. Use your top hand to press you up. Take your time. As you press up, find a comfortable seated position. As you find this comfortable seat, find a straight spine, root down at the hips, rise up through the crown of the head. Position the shoulders above the hips and the ears above the shoulders. Continue to root down and rise up. Let the palms rest at the thighs. Deep inhale. Exhale, let go. If you'd like to join me as we close our practice today, you can bring your palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Bring the gaze inward one more time. Come back to this visualization of how you want to move through the rest of your day. See yourself moving in this way, breathing with intention. Notice the fluidity and gracefulness of each movement. Deep inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, bow down, forehead towards the fingertips. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your practice with me, letting me guide you. Peace to you all.